What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back with another Chris Watts video, and today we are going to be taking a look at Deceptive Detective. As normal, I am excited about this because this man dives right in. He's a professional himself. He's good at what he does, and this man is so close to 100K. So we're gonna watch his video titled "What a Psychopath Looks Like," featuring Chris Watts. So grab a chair, get comfortable. Also, don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video. Then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you so very much for that love and support that you guys continuously show on this channel. I can't thank you guys enough. Keep doing what you guys are doing, and we'll continue to keep growing together. Speaking also of growth, this man is so close to 100K. He is literally 2,000, pretty much 2,000 subscribers away. So go over there to his channel, watch his old stuff, watch his new stuff. He has tons of cases on his channel. Go over there, learn some stuff. He's got a deck also that trains you, for those that are probably in the field, of how to see all these different things and so forth when it comes to liars, deceivers, manipulators. So go check him out. And with that being said, let's get into the video.
What's a psychopathic killer, a manipulated fall guy, or something else? I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation.
Can I say all the above?
Today we're going to analyze a rare Chris Watts interview to determine if he is a psychopathic killer, a manipulated fall guy, or something else entirely.
I would say all the above.
If you've seen my Nichol Kessinger playlist, my conclusion might surprise you. And for reference, this interview is from 2019 and was uploaded with newly cleaned up audio by a friend of the channel, Watts the Obsession. Her link is in the description. And if you want to help decide who we analyze next on the channel, let's get this video to 50,000 views, which is why I'm continuing this series. Or you can become a channel member and decide who we cover next in one of my channel member community polls. Without further ado, let's listen. Since the point of this analysis is how to spot a psychopath, we're going to start at the part of this interview where Chris is talking about Nichol, because I've already analyzed Nichol. Now I want to analyze Chris, and we can determine if he is a manipulator and psychopath himself, or if he was the victim of Nichol Kessinger, who manipulated him to kill his family to be with her and then take the fall for her, as some people speculate in my comments. So Watts the Obsession has conveniently put timestamps here, and we're going to jump to timestamp 1510, where she's labeled Mistress Nichol Kessinger, when, how we met. We're going to listen from there.
Okay.
No, there may have been others. So Nichol was the only one?
I was the only one.
Was there ever like a one-night stand with someone else just out of the blue and one and done?
No.
Okay. All right.
Can we believe him? Probably not.
Want to talk a little bit more about Nichol?
Sure.
So walk me through it, because that was one of the things we never really got to ask you about.
Right, we didn't talk.
Kind of skipped on it. You know, talked about where the girls were, but so what happened there?
So it was probably around June 1st or something. That's when I first met her. And it was just like a work conversation. She messed with the gas meters that, were out in the field. And I was messing up, and then, I took it to her like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, how do I fix it? After that, we just ran into each other a few times in the office, and I think it was probably the fourth time meeting. She had asked me, because like when we were talking back and forth, I would say, like we moved here from Colorado or from North Carolina and stuff like that, and then she was like, "What's all this weed stuff?" I'm like, "Oh," I took out my phone and showed her a picture, like, my girl's on the phone. It's like, "Oh, okay." Like, so, like, yeah, like, I didn't wear a ring at work because like I sent the officer to get refitted after I lost all that weight. So, but
You lost so much weight that your fingers lost weight?
yeah, it was literally like I was out in the snow one time. I went like that. Ring went off on the rocks. So.
Ever since I started analyzing Nichol Kessinger 4 months ago, I've seen lots of comments of people suggesting that Chris was either pushed to commit the murders by Nichol manipulating him, or even by Shanann's needling and belittling him. And over in the DD forum, someone actually mentioned a lot of theories about this to me, which I addressed over there in the forum. And my main question was, where do these theories come from? Because as far as I'm concerned, Chris Watts committed these murders alone, and any manipulation or needling of him was done without the expectation that he would go all out and murder his entire family. All that is to say, I think that Chris originated all these theories about how other people might have contributed to the murders, because he's clearly skilled at blame shifting.
True.
For instance, he's been minimizing his courtship of Nichol with the word just. I just did this, I just did that, and so on. And manipulators often use minimizing adverbs like just and merely to downplay incriminating context.
Okay.
This is so common of manipulators, it's even a card in my deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation. So, does Chris's manipulativeness mean that he's a psychopath? Not necessarily. We need to keep listening before we draw any conclusions about how we should approach him and whether or not we should approach our analysis of him as a psychopath. For now, when I hit play, just pay attention to how he minimizes his own responsibility for the affair with his word choice, where he's constantly painting himself as a aw shucks victim of Nichole's relentless advances.
From North Carolina and stuff like that. And then she's like, "What's all this weed stuff you come?" Like, oh, I took out my phone, showed her a picture. Like, my girl's on the phone. It's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "So, like, yeah, like, I didn't wear a ring at work because like I sent off to get refitted after I lost all that weight." So, but
You lost so much weight that your fingers lost weight?
yeah, it was literally like I was out in the snow one time. I went like that. Ring went off on the rocks. So I was panicking trying to find out like I can't wear this anymore. But so after that, she left me alone for a couple days, and she texted me outside the field. And then after that, we just kept texting back and forth, and it was just just like she used to work in a little rig out in.
Right, so he has an excuse for everything. He showed her the photo of his family. The ball was in her court to do something wrong. He had an excuse for not wearing his wedding ring. She left him alone for a couple days.
North Dakota, I think. And we just kind of sharing the stories back and forth about what we did and everything. And then one day it just kind of went to a different level. And then I never thought it would ever go to that level. But she was talking about meeting up after we got back from San Diego. Yeah, San Diego from the 22nd to the 26th of June. And we met up after we got back. And
How did you guys meet up?
at a park in Thornton. Thornton somewhere. And
I want to look more into
after that, we just
sand
kept
dunes.
seeing each other pretty much the whole month of July.
So let me ask you this. You tell me if I'm wrong. You strike me as somewhat of a shy person. So when you guys were meeting, it was just kind of very initiatory, like flirting at first? Okay. From both sides?
Yeah, it was just kind of like feeling each other out. It's kind of like
And so texts, any calls?
Oh, yeah,
more near
there's
the end of
calls.
June
And what makes you remember that it's June that it happened?
because we called each other before I left to go to San Diego.
Oh, okay. Right. At first, did you think something might happen?
I just thought it was just flirting. I didn't think it was actually like something that would actually happen.
Well, it's totally natural,
There's
right?
something
everyone
I
kind of flirts at
crave.
work, right? Because the relationship between men and women is different. So if you're working with a girl at work, it's just kind of natural to flirt.
I wish I was out in the field more.
If you've seen my previous videos in this series analyzing Nichol Kessinger, you'll know that I think the interviewer who interviewed her did a terrible job. For example, he fed her answers. And he even did something which I used as the preview clip for my video, How to Expose
So they were literally pretty much feeding each other BS.
Manipulator, because it was so egregious. He actually mocked her for being too talkative, which is the exact opposite of what an interviewer should do.
Like so much.
You like to talk, I can tell a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
400 when she was young. She'd crank out about 400 words a minute, gusts up to 600. A little thing can yak, man.
You're a talker, so I'm
By contrast, the officers interviewing Chris Watts here are using much better technique. Does everybody flirt at work? Of course not. Do they know that? Of course they do. But they're making Chris feel comfortable enough to open up and take ownership of his role in the affair and its fallout.
He's trying to
And
blame him
that's why
under the
this
table.
interview is so illuminating, because they're giving him the opportunity to take responsibility, even one iota of responsibility for what happened, and he's resisting doing it. And the next time I pause, I'm going to point out what I think that means as far as our analysis of him as a psychopath or as a bumbling innocent victim fall guy, or as a third topic, something different than a psycho or a fall guy.
That's only natural, right? I mean, everyone kind of flirts at work, right? Because the relationship between men and women is different. So if you're working with a girl at work, it's just kind of natural to flirt. I
You know,
get it.
I wish I was out in the field more instead of in the office those demos, but yeah.
So even there, he wishes he was out in the field more. Whatever happened isn't his fault. He's just a victim of circumstance. If he'd been out in the field more,
So
he wouldn't have fallen victim to the
secretly
circumstances
blaming-
of Nichol pursuing him.
That's kind of where the path started, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I was like, because when I went from like a rover to a field coordinator, like I would spend more time in the morning time in the office trying to get everything like situated where we're going to go, everything like that. You know, if I was a rover, I'd be more out in the field,
Mhm.
and instead of like coming to the office like for more than an hour.
Right.
It just gave me more time to run into her, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. What did she know about you? Did she know you were married first?
Yes.
She did once I showed her the pictures
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, the home screen.
See, she
picture.
knew.
So was your wife in that picture, or was it just your phone?
It was just my girls right there, but my wife was the lock screen.
Oh,
So she knew I was married with my kids.
are you aware that she said she didn't know you were married?
That's
What did you
fine.
think about that?
I figured it was like just trying to save face, trying to, you know, I was just trying to. And some of my sister said it was like just trying to
Save herself.
keep things together.
Yeah.
Just trying. She phrased it a different way, but just kind of like. Just like ground
He's
control, just
secretly
trying to
throwing
control
her
everything
under the
that's going
bus.
on around her. 'Cause I'm sure she got bombarded by all kinds of different sides from the media and everything. So
Have you talked to her at all? No.
I'm
No.
hoping she hasn't like, you know, written me in a different alias or something. No, I'm not talking to her that way.
Oh,
Why would you
And are
say
you not
that?
allowed to talk to her?
I would hope not.
Okay. No one told you that then?
No, I mean I would expect like I thought like in Colorado it said like on a DOC list that if you're on like a victim list you can't call anybody.
Oh,
But here I'm not sure if that's the same. But I just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents.
do you wish you could talk to her?
Maybe once just to
Just get some closure?
say like, hey, you know, just once.
Yeah.
Say like, I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure like what happened like afterward.
I'm sorry this all happened. I'm not quite sure what happened. Even in a hypothetical
He's
apology
secretly-
to Nichol, Chris cannot bring himself to take any responsibility for anything, whether it's the courtship and the affair, or the murder, or even the fallout that resulted from the murder. And it's this lack of remorse and self-centeredness that
He didn't go, I'm sorry for what I did and sorry for what I caused you. He doesn't say that.
convinces me Chris is a psychopath. And now that we're convinced, or at least I am, that he's a psychopath, the next step in our analysis is to determine which type of psychopath he is. Because when it comes to detecting lies, psychopaths are extremely adept at fooling people. They can be very convincing and they can play the victim card very well. So if you've seen my videos, how to catch a psychopath or how to spot a psychopath, you're probably all already familiar with these. But I like to put lying psychopaths into two buckets: bold psychopaths and calculating psychopaths. And once we determine which one Chris is,
I think he's
we'll
more of
be
a-
able to be even more nuanced in protecting ourselves against his manipulations. All that said,
Ooh.
big caveat, I am not a clinician, so I cannot diagnose a psychopath. The behavior panel have pointed out on one of my videos, they don't agree with my psychopath checklist. Personally, I think my checklist is useful for spotting a psychopath so that you can guard yourself against the way they lie. Remember, the point of my channel is to help you spot lies and manipulation, Not to be a therapist or cure these people, my advice has always been, whether we're analyzing psychopaths or addicts or sadists, is if you recognize the signs, just get them out of your life. So when I hit play, ask yourself, is Chris a big and bold storyteller like Casey Anthony or O.J. Simpson? Or is he more calculating like Jada Pinkett Smith or Stephen Stearns or Jody Hildebrand?
Through like, if you had like counseling, if you're like, different state, if you had to leave everything behind, I just wanted to let you know, I'm
I'd say
sorry
he's
that
bold.
something I never saw probably happening or happening to somebody else.
Would you be all right if we told her that?
That's fine.
Do you want us to? Do you want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, then I'm not sure if she'll contact me. I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than the attorney phone call that she didn't want to go answer.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah, because I remember her phone number, but
She wants to be
after that they
completely
figured
not
out
in
guess
it
where
at
she
all.
lived. And they left a business card there. And she just pretty much after like the fifth attempt, she said stop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's getting bombarded like everyone else, so.
And hopefully it's calmed down since, but
She signed up for it when she knew
But,
she was messing
I'm
with
sure,
a married
like,
man.
I just hope she can I'm not there's like normalcy for her, not since she's on the outside, but I'm hoping it can get that way at some point. I'm not sure if she had to leave Colorado or not, but I'm sure that would have been hard if she did.
Mm-hmm.
I know Anadarko was her dream job, so that's one thing I always like asked my attorneys is like, did she have to leave? Like, did she have to do anything at work? Because that was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So,
Oh, really? Yeah. What does she mean?
like like in the oil company in Anadarko, it's like, I mean, unless you work for like BP or like company Phillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Anadarko's like in
Looks like big leagues.
yeah.
Right. Can I ask kind of a tough question? Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Chris can't definitively say he loved Nichol. Yeah, I think that's true, was the best he could muster up. And that is expected of a psychopath. Psychos do not feel emotions like you and me. And I've been saying this ever since the beginning when I started this series. Before I
So that's why he was so able to destroy his family, because he had no emotions. But again, Nichol has the same thing.
even analyzed Chris, this is the first time I've analyzed any of Chris's words. Up until now, I've only analyzed Nichol's interviews. But based on what Nichol said and based on the facts around this case, I came to the opinion that Chris didn't kill his family because he loved Nichol. He wanted to be with Nichol, and the quickest, most convenient way to achieve that was simply to kill his family.
Mm-hmm.
Divorces are messy, they're time consuming, and they're
He
expensive.
wanted it right
And
now.
his wife was pregnant, so even if he divorced her, he'd still have 18 years of child support and potentially alimony to pay. Psychopaths look at the world in terms of people being useful and not useful.
Like Nichol.
And Chris determined that his family was no longer useful. So if you agree with me that Chris is likely a psychopath, or at least close enough to a psychopath
Oh, I agree.
that we can analyze him based on my criteria, our next step is to say whether or not he is a bold psychopath or a calculating psycho. So here's the foretells of
I
a
would
bold
say convincing face, body language, bold story, but by struggle face to face. I think he's more of a bold. Excels at information treatment, excessive.
psycho.
I say bold. But
And when I
could
say
be
bold
wrong.
psycho, think of someone like O.J. Simpson or Casey Anthony or Amber Heard, who we've analyzed on the channel. They have very convincing face and body language. They can display duper's delight. In other words, the elation of getting away with a lie when any normal person like you or me would likely be too stressed
He did say that he lied to his teacher about going to China, and they believed him. So I'm calling bold psychopath.
to be all giddy about getting away with a lie. We'd be too focused on pulling off the lie. They tell big, bold
But I think Nichol is the calculating psychopath because she's got distraction. She's a narcissist using excels in the information of treatment. I do believe that she was smart because she was a geologist. I mean, again, I can't say for 100% certainty what you got to do to be a geologist, but I would presume that she had a higher IQ than below average. Who knows?
Stories, but those stories lack emotional and relationship details, and they struggle face to face. So if you have the opportunity to interview one of them, you want to get them to sit down with you so that you can expose them, which is why I've invited Don Wells for an interview in my Summer Wells series, who declined, as well as Chris Proudfoot in my Sebastian Rogers series, who also has not gotten back to me. But I don't think Chris falls into the bold psychopath category. Instead, I think he falls into the calculating psychopath category,
See, I was wrong.
like Candace Wells. And here's the trademarks of a calculating psychopath: they excel at evasion and distraction. So rather than boldly lying to your face, they'll likely try to distract you or go on a tangent so that they can minimize the amount of lying they have to do. They excel at information treatment. In other words, they can tell you the truth and the whole truth, but they can also add more to it that distorts it. Kind of like how Chris was talking about not wearing his wedding ring. I think that was all true, but he made sure to mention that and didn't mention any other circumstances about him flirting with Nichol. In other words, he treated the information to look like a good guy. They use excessive narcissistic words like I, me, and my. And as we've seen here, Chris does appear to be very self-centered, if not totally narcissistic, because I can't diagnose him. And fourth, calculating psychopaths, just like every psychopath, has a below average IQ. So don't let movies like American Psycho fool you. Psychopaths are usually dumber than the average person. As we listen on, look out for Chris evading sensitive topics by distracting the interviewers. Also look out for him telling totally true stories, but treating the information in order to paint everything in a certain light. And as we've seen so far, he likes to paint himself in the light of a victim, an aw shucks everyman
He's
who's
not a
always
victim,
at the
I tell you that
mercy
right
of
now.
these conniving and bullying women. Finally, look out for his narcissism, especially in his use of narcissistic words. Remember, even though he's expressed no remorse for it, his little daughters and his wife are all dead.
Can I ask kind of a tough question? Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
I think so too. I think it was the same from her. Okay. Tell us about the time you spent with her.
Well, I mean, it felt like it was, I think like when you said like more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue because like
See, but then Nichol sits there and says that Chris chased her. So it's like, what?
Shan met, it was like, she was always like pushing me away, kind of like,
She was sick for a while, right?
oh yeah, she had just got diagnosed with lupus and she was on like a bunch of different medications and stuff. And it was like, I guess I wasn't her type. And
You weren't her type?
I wasn't her type because like she told me like when she first, because we had met.
She told you that?
Yeah,
You're not.
I remember you telling me that.
yeah, it was like when we first met, like was at a movie theater. And my cousin's ex-wife set us up.
You were dressed like shit, weren't you?
I've dated girls that are not my type just to see if to open up waters or open up the pool and see, and I definitely got friendships out of it and so forth like that. So can't always say not my type, but
I didn't. I didn't.
That's what you told me.
Yeah, I didn't know like that.
They wouldn't have any games?
So she was fancy and she was in like shorts and
I was-
tennis shoes or something, right?
I should know the doorman, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good. I like when
Went
you
to the theater?
It was a fancy theater, right?
it was
Kinda?
in Charlotte. It was called the Epicenter. Apparently, they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff. And,
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think he came like he was going to a
like I was
Cinemax, like
I was going to a pawn
like AMC.
Theater.
No, it was like you just watch the normal movie, but like you can like drink champagne and like have like get Jack and Coke beside the theater and just sit there and whatever. But like yeah, it's when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. No, I'm not here to meet.
Once again, Chris uses information treatment to portray himself as a lovable, aw shucks underdog who's teased and tormented by a wily woman. Just this
Feel
time
sorry
it's
for
Shanann.
me.
Of course, just like a
Excuse me,
story
guys.
told by any calculating manipulator, it could be interpreted differently. For example, consider it this way, without the information treatment. Shanann spent hours finding a play for them to go to. She booked the tickets. She was excited about a big night out with Chris, so she spent hours in the mirror dolling herself up, picking out an outfit, and then he shows up like he just rolled out of bed. Now, with my information treatment, who is the deflated, belittled victim, and who is the one taking their partner for granted? This is the hallmark of calculating manipulators. Whether it's Chris Watts or Jada Pinkett Smith, they do not necessarily lie the way a big, bold, psychopathic liar lies. Instead, they distort the
ones.
truth by what they highlight, like Chris did here with Shanann belittling him and humiliating him by flirting with the bartender, and what they decide to minimize, like him minimizing the fact that he put little to no effort into the date, which probably belittled and humiliated Shanann. And of course, the tone they use when they tell the story. And we saw Nichol Kessinger do a lot of this, where they say verbatim what they said, but they use a very different tone than they likely used
So
in
they're
real life.
Both calculating.
This is why we must be very careful about jumping to conclusions regarding Shanann, because she's not around to defend herself or tell her side of the story. Everything we know about her as a wife is filtered through Chris, whose goal is to be perceived as a victim. He would love nothing more than the
The better
general
man.
public to think that Shanann pushed him over the edge by belittling and
Can't justify
humiliating
it.
him, or that Nichol Kessinger manipulated him into killing his family. And since I've mentioned Shanann, and I'm aware there's many theories out there about how she wasn't the perfect partner and she might have even been sadistic, I'll just reiterate what I said in the DD
But that does not constitute the validation of murder.
forum back in March. Shanannwatts was a victim in this tragic event, not the perpetrator, and I am opposed to contributing to Chris's attempts to garner sympathy by assigning even one iota of blame to her without undeniable proof. As I often emphasize in my videos, psychopaths are highly skilled at making themselves appear as the victim. And that is what I think is going on, and I called it back then before I'd even analyzed one word from Chris. There are no sacred cows on my channel, as everyone knows, but I do think we can let Shanann rest in peace.
She first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. No, I'm not here to meet. But yeah, like I was like persistent trying to pursue something. I liked her, and even on the first day, like I couldn't even eat anything really. I was just like,
Just so nervous?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. She was just like chowing down, and she was like, you eat like a bird. I'm like,
That's funny.
and she talked to my parents like months later. She was like, this guy just never ate. He's like, this guy eats like a trash disposal. It's trash disposal. I was like, no, that was not around me. I was like, well, I was nervous. I was just like, I was always like shaking and everything. But yeah, I was always pursuing her, and then just like finally, I grew onto her. Like I would always like with her medications and stuff. I would always like she had like 8 bottles of medication, so I would always get like her day and nights and kind of like put them all in that little flip open and
Fill box.
all that kind of stuff. And I would always be around her. I even went to her colonoscopy. And she said after that she knew that was like kind of a keeper. It's like who goes to a colonoscopy after 2 months with somebody?
Right.
Go and murder her.
That's a little soon.
But she asked if she needed a ride. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go across my colonoscopy with me? I'm like, sure, why not? Like even is that where they watch you drink that nasty stuff all day?
Yeah.
Oh. Where she's in the bathroom all day.
Yeah.
Like clear stuff that's not real, that doesn't really taste clear. Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, it felt like it was a great relationship. Everything was great.
Now you're talking about with Kessinger.
No, with
No,
I'm talking about
with
Shan and like the first year, like my parents never. I don't know. My mom was always kind of hesitant.
What?
I was the baby, I guess. I never. But I never had a girlfriend in high school, so it's kind of like she never like really saw me like.
Oh, interesting. So she's kind of watching her baby walk out a little bit.
Yeah, because when I turned 18, I graduated. I never moved back
Okay.
at home. So
And
my
how
sister moved back and forth all the time. So
How old were you when you met Shanann?
I was 25. It was 2010. So
Based on the way Chris was telling the stories earlier, I would not have guessed that he was 25 when he met Shanann.
Mm.
And once again, it's the power of information treatment. He paints himself as this shy, virginal, henpecked little boyfriend who's too nervous to eat on the first date and is shuffling his demanding girlfriend around to appointments. And besides the manipulation of painting himself as this lovable aw shucks victim, we're also seeing glimmers of narcissism and psychopathy as far as my amateur assessment goes. For example, when it came to Shanann's illness, he's the victim. Well, I had to sit there when she was drinking that disgusting clear stuff. Poor little Chris. How many words does he spare lamenting what Shanann was going through or empathizing with her being sick and having to be shuttled around? Not one.
And Nicole
In
does
other
the
words,
exact same
all
stuff.
of this is spoken like a true calculating manipulator, if not a psychopath. And when I hit play, listen closely, because when Chris gets pressed about never having a girlfriend before, as he claims here, he actually changes his story, which is just a nice little confirmation that he's being fast and loose with the facts.
So no serious girlfriends before that?
nothing more than like 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
High
there
school.
was some girls here and there, but just nothing more than like the last girlfriend I had before Shanann, she was just actually got divorced, and I should never did that. But it was more of like I was kind of like helping her get through her divorce. It seemed like
Mm-hmm.
she went on to somebody else. I'm like, oh, nice to know.
You're the rebound guy.
A rebound guy.
Pretty much, but how it goes.
Would you say that in your relationships with women, it seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it seems to me like you're attracted to maybe a more dominant personality?
It seemed like it because I'm more of the just reserved. I mean, I just kind of like go with the flow type.
Yeah.
And like Shan usually made all the decisions. It seemed like so.
I get that. I'm saying, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't think that's right with you, but
So then, and I know it's hard to keep bouncing back and forth, but and one of the reasons we're here is we just keep telling ourselves, Chris just does not fit the mold. Chris does not
no.
like this. It just blows us away what happened, right? And so we will do a little bit of bouncing back and forth, and that's really just to get to know you a little bit better. We never really got that chance.
I
did we?
want to know if it was Nicole.
Pretty much
too.
twice.
Yeah.
Met you once.
Yeah.
Probably like three. Well, you remember 3 or 4 times probably.
So then, with you call her Nikki or Nicole?
I would call her Nikki.
Okay.
I know. There's so many Nikki's and Nicoles in this.
Right.
I got confused.
So we'll call her Nikki. Okay. So then with Nikki, was it different?
It just seemed like I was more in control. It seemed like, and that never happened. Like she'd actually like asked me like my opinion on a lot of things, just like what I wanted to do, and just kind of like, okay,
That was new, wasn't it?
very new.
It's fascinating to me.
Once again, everything Chris is saying could very likely be
About
true.
him.
Shanann could have been the leader in their relationship and even domineering at times. But Chris's presentation of the events, down to his shaky, feeble voice as he recounts the relationship, appears calculated to give the impression of a victim. And since so much of this video revolves around information treatment, I'll just read you the relevant card from my deception deck. The card is Spotting Common Lies, and it is in the Concepts suit. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Testimony Oath. When evaluating statements for deception, consider the three components of the testimony oath. 1. Commission. This involves bold-faced lies of commission, where an individual outright contradicts the oath's pledge to tell the truth through direct falsehoods. In other words, bold liars. 2. Omission. Here, lies of omissions occur. The subject tells part of the truth, but intentionally omits incriminating, crucial information, not adhering to the whole truth. And this is the
Well,
most
bits and
common
pieces.
type of lie. And third, distortion. The final method of lying involves information treatment. The truth is presented is warped with additional language, such as exclusion qualifiers or a passive tone, deviating from nothing but the truth. And this is the difference between bold liars who lie by commission, average liars who lie by omission, and then calculating liars who lie with information treatment. In other words, they're not technically lying. And that's what I believe we have with Chris a lot of the time here. So when I hit play, pay attention to how Chris frames his dates with Nichol. The picture he paints is if he's a little boy sneaking away with her and discovering a new world of opportunities.
That's what
He
they
can
both
go
like.
camping with her or watch a drag race, things he's always wanted to do. Of course, nothing was preventing him from doing any of these things this entire time. And it certainly wasn't Shanann. He met her when he was 25 years old,
He had tons of time
and
to
she
do all
couldn't
that.
even prevent him from sleeping over at Nicole's house multiple nights during their courtship. In other words, if you have a manipulator in your own life, they probably manipulate you the same way Chris is attempting to manipulate his audience by painting themselves in a very different light without telling any actual lies.
It just seemed like I was more in control, it seemed like. And that never happened. Like she'd actually like asked me like my opinion on a lot of things, just like what I wanted to do, and just kind of like, okay,
That's new, wasn't it?
very new.
It's fascinating to me. And so, did it feel more like an equal partnership, or
It seemed like it.
okay?
Still, does
So
not
then,
constitute murder.
when it was date night, would you guys talk about it? Would you ask to go somewhere, or would she say, "I want to go somewhere"? Was it two things?
The first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard, about the 144th over there, and I asked her like, "Hey, you want to go see this movie?" And like, she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And we got there, it was sold out. And normally I'd probably just have just wait 2 hours, like just go home. But now she just wanted to walk around and just talk. I'm like, okay,
Oh wow!
so that was different. And I think she wanted to go to the car museum, Shelby Museum in Boulder. I've never been there, and I was
That's right up your alley. So
Yeah.
mechanic.
like, I was just like, that was awesome, just to walk around cars for like an hour or so. And then, drag race in Vandermeer.
Okay.
And I haven't been to a drag race since 2008. And that was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Like that was a drag strip over there. That's like the NHRA, the Top Fuel fun car stuff. Like me and my dad used to grow up.
Yeah.
Go there like all the time. And then went to camping in Sand Dunes National
I don't
Park.
know about that one.
And I'd never been camping. I always wanted to do it. Thought it was she'd done it like countless times. Like,
Oh really? Okay. She's outdoorsy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She. I guess she every time like she needed to clear her head, she'd just go by herself. Just go somewhere else.
Oh. But she's a completely new type of person and relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What were you thinking this whole time? Like,
In the back of my head, I was telling myself, "What are you doing?" Like, every time, I open up my phone, I could see pictures, like, of my wife and my kids.
So you
and
knew
stuff,
that they
what
were
am I doing?
together.
And then, like, every time I was with her, it seemed like, didn't think. It seemed like it was like like a blinder that was on my face.
Oh,
And it was like every time I look back on it, like, like I have pictures of my wife and kids and myself. And like every night, or every morning, every night, I just, talk to them, say like I have like this book I used to read for CC, and I remember that book. So I read that to them like every night. And like there's some scripture and stuff that I read to them. So just try to, just try to think back. Like I wish this never happened. I just like I wish that blinder wasn't on my head, wasn't in my eyes. That would have seen what was going on. Like
Once again, Chris cannot take responsibility for
For his
anything he
action.
did. He blames everything he did on these blinders, and I wish I didn't have these blinders. It's not my fault. So now we're getting into the details of Chris's relationship with Nichol. And remember, if Nichol was involved in the planning, execution, or cover up of the murders, this is where we might get some clues about that, especially if we detect for the first time so far in this interview that he's attempting to minimize her involvement in any stage of the murders, since he's done the
I hope he
opposite
does another
so
one of that.
far across this entire interview, blaming everyone but himself for everything, down to the affair, the courtship, and even the little blinders on his head. If you've not seen my analysis of Nichol, I have plenty of questions about her too. They're on your screen now. I recommend watching them next. And if you want to continue this series, let's get this video to 50,000 views. Until next time, stay true.
50,000 views, guys. You guys do the work there. Make sure you guys get that to 50,000 views. But it's definitely interesting to see that he is a calculating psychopath compared to what I had thought as being a bold psychopath. He blames everybody but himself. He blames Shanann. He blames Nichol. Secretly blames Nichol. He's secretly blamed his parents and so forth. Definitely do enjoy watching Deceptive Detective. Make sure you guys go over to his channel again and watch his stuff. Don't forget to hit the like button for the obvious reasons of hopefully one day finding that justice that we hopefully seek. And we'll see you guys in the next one. So please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.